What a humble piece of family-friendly sci-fi horror Planet of Evil is. And you could call that title whatever the 1970s equivalent to clickbait was, because Zeta Minor isn't really an evil planet. It simply contains forces that don't play well with our reality. That doesn't make it bad, does it? The story was written by Lewis Marks. Lewis Marks? Ah, of course, Planet of Giants guy. He also wrote Day of the Daleks and went on to write Mask of Mandragora one more season down the line. And those are pretty sizable gaps between writing duties. I mean, imagine an old Doctor Who writer coming back to do more. Hey, there he is, look, woohoo! Little segue into current affairs for you there. Good to have you back, Russ. Looking forward to it, mate. The chimp approves. Anyway, it does kind of make sense that Planet of Evil was the same creative mind behind Planet of Giants, as they both contained that environmental message of man disrupting nature. Cross that with Jekyll and Hyde, the first two Alien movies which didn't exist yet, a kind of antimatter primord, some scary jungles, these interesting scribble monsters, and jobs are good'un. I think my favourite thing about Planet of Evil is that this entire jungle was created in a studio, and the BBC preserved it in photographic form as an example of good set design. Fandom, I am eternally grateful. It is a brilliant set, and I consider it the glue which holds the first portion of this serial together, despite the planet Zeta Minor itself looking like a giant delicious meatball from the outside. Look, it's got swamps and everything. It's the perfect setting to watch a group of scientists getting bumped off by God knows what. Look at these little signs this guy has made. They're basically tombstones. Poor Eggard Lumb. From this you can immediately throw in the wild guess that this expedition is not going well. It's these flipping crystals that are the problem. Leave them alone. No, don't put them in a pot. Leave them. Here's your main problem here, Professor Sorenson. He's obsessed with tapping into this planet's resources, despite being aware that Zeta Minor has an alarming level of sentience. It knows you're messing around with it, mate. Cue the distress call, enter the Tardis. Sorry, Sarah Jane, nope, this isn't London. It's Zeta Minor, the last planet in the known universe and 30,000 years out of time. Also responding to the distress call is the crew of this Morestron probe ship. I think I pronounced that right. Lovely shot there. The captain is a giant fool and he gets on my wick for the entire serial. The sooner Wyszynski, his second in command and Jimmy Page lookalike takes control, the better. But don't get your hopes up anytime soon. We're stuck with this flipping banana for the intermittent. They land on the planet, meet the Doctor, and the nerve of these guys clamping the TARDIS. What are they, traffic wardens? Anyway, it's going great guns for the Morestrons at first. They capture the TARDIS and Sarah Jane and find Professor Sorenson. He says he's fine, and I'm sure that he's completely sincere in that statement. Yeah, no problems there. All good. This is going to be an early wrap-up, I think. So begins the pre-psychic paper era, yay, of Doctor Who, where they have to spend a pretty hour explaining that they are not the killers or imposters or whatever they're getting accused of. The Morestrons, I'll just pronounce it differently every time and hopefully that'll cover it. In general, they're a little slow on the uptake, but hey, at least they're not Morlocks. Soon enough, we get our first look at the big old bad of this adventure. I don't actually know what part you were trying to shoot there, mate. For the most part, it's a kind of stencil animation added in post-production that the actors sometimes had to pretend was really in front of them. It's a pretty cool creature, and I can see why you would freak out if one of them made a beeline for you, especially when it does that. Turns out these people have been dried to death. I'm not kidding. The night is dark and full of cured men. No, Captain Idiot, it wasn't the Doctor and Sarah. How would they have done that? Flippin' exhausting. If there's one more thing I'll say in the defense of these guys, it's this. They do have a cool ship. The captain's chairs don't look massively safe up there, but they are pretty imposing. And you could make a whole TV show just about this probe thing. Look at that. Look at its eye. It's an oculoid tracker and it's chasing the Doctor and Sarah Jane after their escape. But the Doctor doesn't care because there's a big hole in the ground. And it leads to a mysterious realm. You know, I really wish it was Captain Smartass who fell down this hole, but it's not. It's this guy. And that's not fair. He could have been so much more. You know, I'm putting this guy in the Chosen Chimp Hall of Fame, next to the greatest Doctor Who villain of all time, Ibrahim Namin. What a waste. Anyway, the Doctor pretty much breaks the fourth wall when he says you're tampering with the balance of nature and it may already be too late. That's sobering. Sorenson is full of glee at the fact that he has found a source of energy capable of saving humanity's dying sun. Trouble is, he's taken all these minerals and Zeta Minor is not a fan of that. Not only is this planet self-aware, but it is also the boundary between our known universe and a reality reality that we just don't understand. Yep, that's right folks, it's an antimatter story. You try and take anything from it and it's going to end up bad for the entire universe. And it's bound together like elastic, so you can't even escape with it. We already know how dangerous antimatter is from the Three Doctors, just ask Patrick Troughton's recorder. So, put it back. They try and fly away and nope, you're going nowhere mate. This planet is pure energy and these creatures are fully made of the stuff. Yeah, don't bother shooting it, just... what do those guns actually do anyway? There you go, nudge it with the shield, that'll hold it back for a bit. Probably the most interesting element to this story is the Doctor trying to broker peace with the forces of antimatter. If you're excited to learn what this anti-realm actually looks like, well, there you go, it's just that. I guess the BBC maxed their budget on the jungle, but I suppose it does make sense that it would be a world full of nothing. And I do like the consistency of the Doctor's trip because it's very similar to the third Doctor's jaunt when he crossed dimensions in Inferno. So there you go, nice bit of continuity there, it's all good. Anyway, a conversation is had, apparently, and the Doctor manages to secure a release for these unwitting plebs, just so long as they put the crystals back. Put them back. But look, Sorenson's proper lost the plot, talking about all his anti-quarks and unlimited resource and all that gubbings. Yeah, you're really selling it to us, mate, what with you turning into, well, that to start with, which, I mean, yeah, that looks pretty damn cool. I love the idea that antimatter energy does that to you, which Sorenson is taken in the form of a weird soup. But then he gradually turns into this hairy beast thing, and I can officially confirm that does not make for a great Doctor Who monster. But wait, there's more. Trouble also is that the Doctor needed some antimatter in a tin to survive his trip to the other side, so the ship still can't escape. We're now in the monster on a ship portion of the story. More Morestrons get dried up to death, and they make great noises when they die. The commanding officers conduct a rather somber funeral procedure, which is pretty touching, right up until the point where they try and jettison the Doctor and Sarah Jane in the same manner while they are still alive. You know, I'd gladly take being jettisoned if it meant that I got to do this first. Punch that annoying captain in the face. Wow, look at that. Screw Venusian karate. Punch him. Punch him good. And the Doctor actually shoots someone. He says in the next serial he never carries firearms. That's not true, is it? Luckily, Mr. Wyszynski takes control and, look who's losing the plot. What a surprise. Captain Buffoon. Now doing that thing that UNIT does, where you shoot the monster with a powerful energy weapon that actually feeds it and makes it grow stronger. You were such a nuisance that I never bothered to learn your name. And this is the last thing you'll ever see. And it serves you right. There. Sorenson, with his already monstrously hybridized tissue, starts doing this. Spawning duplicate antimatter scribble copies of himself. That is such a cool power to have. And he doesn't even really know that it's happening. The Doctor takes Sorenson and his little tin of antimatter back to Zeta, thus untethering the Morestron ship. Sorenson, you've caused a lot of trouble during your misguided antimatter fossil fuel quest. So this is the price that you must pay. You get to live! Really? Who saw that coming? There he is, look, he's alive, all sorted. The Doctor tells him about this other thing that he can try and do to get energy that doesn't involve plundering the resources of alien planets, and he says good idea, and that's the end of that. So, all is well that ends well. Not really the Doctor and Sarah Jane's darkest hour, just a bit of a troubled journey, like when you're in the car on a motorway and a wasp flies in through the window, but then it just flies out the other window, so there's no harm done. Hopefully, Sarah Jane, you'll land in the correct destination this time, robot mummies. You know, it could be said that there's nothing distinctly groundbreaking about Planet of Evil, but I do very much appreciate its leaning towards hard sci-fi, and the style and consistency makes it a neat little adventure. I'm really into the whole concept of Zeta Minor, this sentient bridge towards the realm of antimatter, and I'd like to have seen more of it. It does get a fleeting revisit in the Simon Messingham novel from 1998, Zeta Major, and yep, in that story, people are trying to plunder its resources again. Put it back. Do you have a Doctor Who serial in mind that you would like me to cover on this channel? Drop it in the comments and don't forget to hit subscribe. Have a good one.